Hello everyone, in honor of Top Gun Maverick being in cinemas, it made me think about my favorite Legacy sequels. So in this video, I'm going to share my top 10 favorite Legacy sequels. Sequels that have come years later, but not only continue the story of original characters, but also introduce a new cast and set up a new series. Now, there may be some that I have missing from this list. Feel free, if I miss some, to share your favorite Legacy sequels down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Here we go. Starting the list at number 10, I have two films that are tied with Superman Returns and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Both films, they set up a Legacy sequel years, decades after the previous entry, and I must say, both films copy the original. They do something new, but in many ways are almost like a soft remake with this reboot. And Superman Returns was no exception. If you look at the plot, it's almost identical to Superman the movie, but Superman was gone for 5 years, comes back. Brandon Routh portrays the character perfectly, and he is like an embodiment, a spiritual successor to Christopher Reeve. And perhaps if he was able to kind of make the role his own, the movie might have had sequels, who knows, but I think it's a vastly underrated movie that has that Donner-verse Superman. Kate Bosworth as Lois, Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. Overall, it is more of a slow burn film. In many ways, it's Superman the movie 2.0, the way that Star Wars The Force Awakens is A New Hope 2.0. And A New Hope, you know, they go there, this empire is looking for a droid, these plans, but instead of the Death Star plans, it's a map to Luke Skywalker. Same difference. Overall, you can have reservations about these films. I personally thought Force Awakens was a bit of a soulless movie, but you cannot deny, even with the death of Han Solo and all the other stuff that happened, no matter how derivative it may have been, it did set up an interesting trilogy with not only the original cast, but the new cast as well. And even though some of the characters got put back to square one, it would have been interesting to see the sequels that followed this film. Unfortunately, they didn't go on with a plan, and that's what hurt it. Superman Returns, I thought, was a solid foundation, but both of these films are a little bit lower on the list because of how derivative they are, and basically, they're just copying plot lines from better movies. After that, at number 9 is The Matrix Resurrections. In many ways, this is just a fourth film, but I call it Legacy because it is about the legacy of the trilogy. And this film is very much like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's a very meta movie. It's nowhere near the first three, but I like it for being a Legacy sequel, and it does offer a happy ending with Neo and Trinity flying off into the sunset. And overall, I love the commentary it not only had on the Matrix and its influence on pop culture, but society and social media and technology. And even though it's not like the first three, I do respect it for having a story to tell and doing something different. And that's what I think is going to make this film stand on its own in years to come. Sure, it's not the first three, but it does have a story to tell, and it is something of its own. I love seeing what happened with Morpheus, Niobe, the world, and everything that Neo and them fought for in Revolution, seeing how it's all paid off in Resurrections. After that, at number 8 is where things get interesting with Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep is how you do a Legacy sequel. You know, it's based on the novel by Stephen King, both of them are, but it's a sequel to The Shining. What the film does interesting is that it copies the book, takes some embellishments from the book, as all movie adaptations do, but it's from the book, but they decided to make it a sequel to the Jack Nicholson Shining directed by Stanley Kubrick, and I love that. That makes it feel more of a spiritual successor. It's a totally different beast than The Shining, a completely different movie, but I love Ewan McGregor playing an adult Danny. How they did the flashbacks, this would have been the one time to use DH CGI with Jack Nicholson, but you know, the actor who played Elliot on E.T. does a fantastic job as Jack Torrance. And seeing Dale Torrance deal with his past trauma and using the ability of The Shining again is quite something against these like vampires, you know, with Rose the Hat and her gang. Seeing him protect this young girl, seeing them go back to the Overlook Hotel. There's some great stuff in this film that makes it a sequel worth the wait. After that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I love Ghostbusters Afterlife. After the 2016 remake, I'm not even going to talk about that. This is how you do a sequel / legacy sequel. Even though the Ghostbusters aren't in it that much, their presence is still felt, and this was made with a lot of love. I'm so happy that Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, directed this. Seeing the actors, the young kids, all did a superb job. This was just a good movie. Even if it didn't have the Ghostbusters, this would have been a great film. And the Ghostbusters coming back at the end just as a cherry on top of the cake. But this is a legacy sequel done with a lot of love, and it makes me cry because not only is it a sad ending, probably one of the saddest I've seen since Ghost, it actually treats the characters with respect. And in this day and age, that's a rare thing, so I absolutely love Ghostbusters Afterlife for that fact. Next up is Top Gun Maverick. Oh my god, Top Gun Maverick was awesome. Not only is Maverick still the main character, and we continue his story, get to see him and Iceman reunite, but you get a new cast. You know, Goose's son, codename Rooster. You have Hangman, Phoenix, Payback, Fanboy. Like, the whole cast is just awesome in this. Yeah, the romance may not be the same with Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly as it was Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis in the original. The ending with the Russian base may have been a bit far-fetched, but this episode had you on an emotional roller coaster. The fact that they filmed this for real with the jet sequences was just phenomenal, and Joseph Kosinski is no stranger to legacy sequels. I absolutely love this movie. This is a sequel done right, had a story to tell, but also it's just a wholesome adventure. It's been a while since there was a movie that didn't have just bullshit just trying to cram down our throats, or like characters from the past just totally disrespect it, like Terminator Dark Fate or Star Wars Last Jedi. You know, it's nice seeing a legacy sequel where there's care and it's actually worth the wait. Like, they actually had a story to tell. They didn't just make a sequel for money. It's like, no, Tom Cruise waited until he had the right script. And I think that the age gap really helped. You know, I think that the difference in years really helped because, like, they were able to live those experiences in life, and now that they're at that age, they can finally play these characters at this moment in their lives. And I think that a little bit of life experience was needed to tell this specific story. And Top Gun Maverick, if you haven't seen it, see it in the biggest screen. It is awesome. After that is Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy is a criminally underrated movie, and like I said, Joseph Kosinski is no stranger to legacy sequels. It started with this. This is actually better than the original. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Not only with the technology, the Daft Punk score, the emotion. Jeff Bridges is great. Yeah, he's a bit of the dude as Kevin Flynn, but as Clue, I love Jeff Bridges as Clue. He steals the show as the villain. You have Olivia Wilde as Cora, Michael Sheen. Oh my god, this movie is just so damn cool, and this is probably like the last truly original Disney movie that I flat out enjoy before they started buying out Marvel, Star Wars, and just remaking their own stuff. Like, I love Tron Legacy. It's sad that it doesn't have a sequel already. This is a legacy sequel. And in many ways, it kind of did set a template for legacy sequels and how original characters are treated or what they do if they sacrifice themselves and stuff like that. But this is a criminally underrated movie and one of my favorite legacy sequels of all time. After that is Blade Runner 2049. This one is another film that I think is like not only measures up to the original, but maybe better. Denis Villeneuve directed this. Ryan Gosling is in this. He's an android. There's androids hunting androids now in 2049. Ana de Armas as Joy is fantastic. Jared Leto, man. All the actors are great in this. We get appearances from Edward James Olmos and Harrison Ford. At first, I was bummed that Harrison Ford wasn't in it more, like the trailer made it seem, but his character, unlike Han Solo, is treated with respect as Deckard, and not only that, even though he's not in the whole movie, his presence and the story about Deckard still runs throughout the entire film, and it definitely helps to watch the original Blade Runner before watching this one. It elevates it. This is an awesome movie. It's a shame that it flopped at the box office. I remember seeing this in theaters and I was just like in awe over the way it was filmed. I mean, it was like practical. Like, it has some computerization, but it was with models and just practical effects. It was very old school. And you could tell Villeneuve had a lot of love for the original Blade Runner. The best legacy sequels always continue a story, introduce new characters, but never disrespect the past. And it just basically expands on what was told before, and that's what I love about this movie. After that is Mad Max Fury Road. This is a regular sequel, but I'm going to count it as a legacy sequel because even though it's kind of by itself a standalone sequel, Tom Hardy is Max, but there's flashbacks to when the toe cutter died in the original Mad Max from '79, so this is a legacy sequel. Many decades later, I saw the original Mad Max on VHS. It's one of the films that inspired me to be a filmmaker, and I remember seeing this in 2015, and it was just awesome. Balls to the wall action, a tour de force. It rides all the way to the roads of Valhalla, shiny and chrome. I love this movie. Tom Hardy surprised me as Max. He's no Mel Gibson, but he's good for what he is. And Furiosa kicks ass in this movie, played by Charlize Theron. George Miller just like put the dial up to 11 on this film. Next up on the list is Creed. Creed was an idea where I'm like, this is stupid. Why are they continuing it? Rocky Balboa was a perfect end, but then Sly got involved. Then we had Michael B. Jordan cast as Adonis Creed, and you know what? This turned out to be the best goddamn thing since sliced bread. Like, seriously. I love Creed. Ryan Coogler made a strong film. I still think Sly should have got the Academy Award for this movie. This is how you do a legacy sequel. Yeah, it's a spin-off, but it's really Rocky 7, where he trains Creed. Everything from Rocky 4 is brought in, that trauma, but also they both give each other reasons to fight. Adonis trying to prove that he's not a mistake. And then Rocky's kind of given up. He has cancer. He's dying. So Adonis gives Rocky a reason to fight, a reason to continue living. And they both need each other in this movie. This was a powerful film from beginning to end. And I still would love this film even without the sequels. Seriously, like, this is just a perfect movie by itself in the way that, like, the first Rocky was a perfect movie by itself without the sequels. And yeah, this is a legacy sequel done right. Last but not least, we have The Color of Money. The Color of Money is another legacy sequel with Tom Cruise and one of my favorites, directed by Martin Scorsese. It's a sequel to The Hustler. Paul Newman as Fast Eddie is perfect in this. Again, a legacy sequel that was worth the wait with the time gap. And with Paul Newman's age, he's able to bring more to the character of Fast Eddie with life experience, with the story, and it won him an Academy Award. Tom Cruise is amazing as Vincent. Yes, he was named Vincent in Collateral as well. I love the Werewolves in London scene that's like all in one take. Oh my God. This movie is just a great movie, and seeing like the rise of like being a pool player, you know, being a hustler, getting into the game of gambling and just the sport, getting off on your own ego. Like, there's a lot of great stuff in both movies, but Color of Money is a wonderful legacy sequel that works on its own if you've never seen The Hustler, and is elevated even more if you have seen The Hustler and knew what Paul Newman went through in that original. It reminds me a lot of what Maverick went through in Top Gun, going to Top Gun Maverick. Oh, those are my favorite legacy sequels. Counting stuff outside of film though, Cobra Kai must be mentioned. Cobra Kai never dies and is still the best around. Genius getting the villain, or should I say the bully, and making him the protagonist, and kind of switching Dale and Johnny's roles. And it was like a pure sequel to The Karate Kid. Not only the series, but like the first Karate Kid. Seeing Johnny Lawrence again. They brought it back to basics and made a relevant tale that not only introduced new characters that are awesome in their own right, but then they continue the story of the originals. And that's where I have to leave here. These legacy sequels, the best ones are the ones that not only tell a new story and introduce new characters, they're the ones that actually continue the story and show us where these characters that we all know and love from the originals are now in their lives. And that's how you do a legacy sequel, unlike some other films in Hollywood. Anyway, those are my top 10 favorite legacy sequels. I thought I would share that. Let me know down in the comments below. Did I miss some? What are your favorites? Let me know down in the comments below. Give this a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and be on the lookout. This weekend, I'm going to have a visual poem, and it's going to be the 800th video on this channel. It's been a great ride. Thank you all for watching and supporting this channel, and I love the discussion we have. Let's have more of it, and just stay safe and healthy out there, and enjoy film, everyone. Till next time.